Hazy Days. This short story originally appeared in Jump Point 10.02.
A sudden uprush dispels the dark, and Purnell R.I. opens his eyes to find himself in a bright, sterile medical facility. There you are, Mr. R.I. Where am I? It's okay. You're an Orson. It looks like your regen was successful. How are you feeling? Purnell draws a few deep breaths, then wiggles his fingers and toes. A little sore. What happened to me? I'm afraid I can't help you with that. You suffered a traumatic injury, though. Don't think there'll be any scarring, so you're lucky there. What's the last thing you remember? Purnell's memories come flooding back. He's dancing with Sergei. He's on a beach in Castle, basking in the glow of Gauss's binary stars. And he's a kid struggling to steady a gun to shoot cans in an abandoned building on the outskirts of Archibald Station. Your brain activity looks normal, at least, the doctor says while navigating screens on the datapad. Sorry, I'm remembering things, but it's just a lot at once. It's all good. I asked because your last imprint was quite a while ago. If you don't imprint frequently, your short-term memory can be a bit hazy. You know that, right, Mr. Ari? Mr. Ari? Purnell shifts his eyes from the window's stunning vistas over Orson back to the doctor, then nods knowingly. Sorry. Still settling back in. It's totally understandable. Well, all your vitals look good, so you're free to leave. Obviously, take a little time for yourself and maybe imprint more frequently. It might make things easier next time. Purnell thanks the doctor, then leaves the hospital in a daze, wearing the clothing provided to him. The wind whips across Cloudview Center platform, chilling him to the bone through the thin material. Still, he stops to enjoy the sunset spreading vibrant colors across the sky. He even leans over the railing ever so slightly to take in the cloud bank below. A sudden rush of vertigo overcomes him, and Purnell takes a quick step back, then wonders if that's how he died, like a fool falling off an Orson platform. He sits on a nearby bench and closes his eyes. No recent memories surface. Eventually, Purnell stands and walks across the platform, knowing full well that things could be worse. At least he remembers the location of his hab. Back at his green circle hab, Purnell opens a closet to change. For a second, he's shocked to see his favorite helmet missing. Of course he was wearing it when, and he pauses again, hoping something will come back, but nothing does. Instead, he recalls how he quit tailing a target in the back streets of Fujin City to buy the helmet from a pop-up stall. Something about it suited him, and it had served well, keeping him safe. That is, until now. Only later did he discover it was an early and exceedingly rare CC's conversion helmet, one that is immensely valuable to him in many ways, and now potentially gone forever. Purnell pops open his Mobi and scrolls through his inventory, and his heart sinks when he sees what's missing. It must have been a big op if he took so much stuff. There's enough of his gear still in storage, but he feels so disconnected from this collection of odds and ends that it's like browsing through someone else's closet. He can't remember the last time he wore half this stuff. Shoving the dull ache of the loss aside, Purnell grabs his backup undersuit and stuffs his right leg into it, praying it still fits. Circling above the surface, it doesn't take long before Purnell spots the bunker's support structures. He slows the ship, adjusts course to keep his distance, unable to trust his memory enough to know whether or not this spot has turrets. It all looks vaguely familiar, and the more he circles, the more he feels like he's been here. If he had to bet, this is where he died. Purnell found this spot after checking his Mobi for his recent job history. His last gig brought him to this bunker, which would explain why he took so much stuff. In the past, he would have assembled one, maybe two people for something like this, but Purnell started doing jobs like this alone since coming to Crusader. At first, it was out of necessity, since he didn't trust anyone. But as his confidence grew and the credits rolled in, and thanks to keeping 100% of the payout, he soon found himself scrolling his Moby specifically for smaller gigs. Plus, if Purnell was being honest, he found the rush of facing down a hive of outlaws all on his lonesome to be incredible. Now contemplating landing back at the bunker where he died, Purnell wonders about the wisdom of not bringing backup. He's already at a disadvantage wearing his second-hand gear with some asshole in the bunker probably getting ready to shoot him with the carefully calibrated weapons they've undoubtedly looted from his body. Slowing the ship's thrusters, he spots a turret, sets his sights on it, he primes a missile and pushes in, and to his surprise, the turret doesn't care. He takes his finger off the trigger and buzzes the bunker. When that doesn't prompt a response from the turret either, he loops back and lands without incident, glad it didn't cost him any munitions to set down near the entrance. He climbs out of the ship, quickly double-checks his unfamiliar gear and hustles towards the bunker. The outer doors are already breached and slightly open, showing a sliver of the elevator inside. He unholsters his pistol, a near pristine arc light too, and enters cautiously. A few steps inside, a hail of bullets strike his ship, and Purnell spins to see the nearby turret is now very much active. His ship shields flare for a moment before they blink out, and he barely has time to avert his eyes as the explosion sends ship debris flying across the landing pad. Job done, the turrets return to rest. For a second, Purnell feels woozy and steadies himself against the door. When it passes, he takes a second to contemplate his next steps, activates his Moby and sends out an emergency beacon. Then he collects himself, steps onto the elevator, certain that it will take a while for the ride to arrive and that he didn't come all this way not to get his helmet. Once inside, Purnell gets deja vu. He knows a lot of the prefab bunkers around Crusader were built using the same modular design, but this one feels strangely familiar. He creeps in quick and quiet, then peers around a corner to see a grenade coming his way. Instinctively, Purnell rolls forward and takes cover behind a stack of grates. The blast knocks a few atop him, which he quickly kicks away and starts firing. A figure falls, and Purnell rolls through the swirling smoke to a new position. He holsters his pistol, unslings his P4 AR rifle, fires, and watches another figure fall. He pushes forward, drawing fire from another concealed position. Purnell weaves behind cover until he's flanking the remaining combatant. He swings his rifle up and focuses on a hazy shadow within the columns of smoke and squeezes the trigger until the figure falls. Purnell takes a moment and lets everything settle. His ears are still ringing from the initial grenade blast, but the bunker is otherwise quiet. He gets up and crosses to the last figure he shot. His heart sinks when he sees what's left of the distinct shape of his helmet, now bullet-ridden and modded to match the gang's colors. Something about seeing those colors make memories flood Purnell's mind. He looks around the space and it all comes back, including the fact that there were 4 of them last time. Purnell hears footsteps behind him, and before he can raise his rifle, everything goes black. The end.